With Ottawa 67's forward Cam Tolnai. And Cam, first of all, it's been a while since I've seen you. How are things going and what's keeping you busy during the pandemic here?
Things are going well. Spending a lot of time with the family, working out, playing video games. I was still in school, so try to do well at that and finish strong. So yeah, been pretty busy recently.
And I hear there's some news on the school front. No longer a high school student.
No, yesterday was my last exam as well as Alec and Dylan and Cause. So yeah, we're all graduated high school now, which is pretty cool.
Well, congratulations, Cam. And I'm assuming that being a member of triplets has got to make this time a little bit easier.
Yeah, for sure. I know that some of my friends, they may not have any brothers or sisters, or if they do, they're different ages. So there's not a lot of things you can do together. But having my brother Davis and Ryan and Evan here, we do a lot of things together. It's nice having Davis here because we're sort of workout partners. So the little extra motivation to go harder, and when you don't feel like doing it, having someone asking you to work out is definitely helpful.
And what type of workouts are you able to do at home?
I have a few kettlebells at home and some free weights. So, my trainer Anthony Belza, he sent me a couple workouts, so that's what I've been really doing. And then we have some running stuff too, but it's hard to go. You can't go to a track right now, so you just find an empty parking lot and do that.
Is there anywhere around Oakville that you're able to get out to?
Yeah, I go to my old high school here. We have the track there, but it's closed off. But the parking lot is pretty big, so I don't think there's any rule against running in a parking lot. So until we're told otherwise, we'll still do it.
All right, Cam. I want to go back to your OHL draft here. The OHL draft just gone by a couple
Yeah.
couple weeks ago. Did you have a feeling heading in to that draft on where you would be selected and where you'd be going?
I would say I had a general consensus of where I think I'd be around going. All the lists that come out, you sort of not try to look at them because you don't want to pull the ego up anymore. But I had a great conversation with Ottawa, and I knew that Jan and James told me they were very interested in me. So I was thankful to come to Ottawa. But yeah, to go with your question, yeah, I didn't really know where I was going. Talking with my agent the night before, he said there's a few spots where he thinks I could go, and then happened to be Ottawa.
And what was your reaction, your initial reaction when getting selected by the 67s?
I was super excited. I've never actually been to an Ottawa 67s game before. I've been at TD Place, so I didn't know too much about it. I watched the game one against Hamilton in the playoffs, so I sort of had an idea who was on the team. And growing up, watched Graham play when he would play for the Marlies, and we would be at the same tournament as him. So it was cool to see some of the guys that I knew, and I already knew Baller, so it was cool to see.
Did you find that there was any extra pressure being selected where you were sixth overall?
Whenever you're a first round pick, I think there's high expectations for you, and especially if you go six overall, people think you should be producing or doing something for the team right away. But I think it comes with everyone. Everyone in the league's good enough to play, no matter where you get drafted. So it's more about proving yourself rather than where you got drafted.
And then later on in that same draft, one of the triplets, Davis, was selected in the 15th round. What was that like going to the same team?
It was kind of funny because we've sort of been stuck on the same team for forever. So it was as I got drafted, I'm like, I might be away from him now. But then when he got drafted, I was like, nope, he's still here.
Looking back at it, do you feel at the age of 16 that you were prepared mentally and physically to move away from home?
Yeah, I think mentally I was definitely prepared to move away from home. I think at that age, it's sort of that transition from you're going from being a kid and not really having any responsibility to now that going to grade 11 and 12, you sort of have to be prepared for next steps in life and if you go off to school. So I think it's a good age. And I think at that time, most kids are physically developed at some point where they can play at the next level. But yeah, for the most part, I think it's pretty good.
What was the biggest adjustment going from minor hockey into life in the OHL?
I would say probably just the work ethic and the speed of the game. I think especially with Andre, how he preaches speed and hard work. I think going from minor hockey where you're used to being able to dominate players without working 100%, to where if you want to have any success, you got to be that 100% every time. So I think just always being on your game and knowing your strengths and how to use them well is something that is big for transition.
How big of a shock was it to adapt to life with Sean Young? Yeah, your
um,
conditioning.
yeah. I would say it was a big transition, but I don't think it was anything that was unexpected. I was given a few heads up by some of the guys about Sean beforehand, and some of the trainers that I've had with my teams, and personally, we've had some pretty intense workouts. So I think it's more just getting down and doing it rather than sulking about it and complaining.
Did you find yourself frustrated at all during your rookie season? The points maybe not coming as quickly or as often as you were used to?
Um, I would say probably, yeah. I think I was a bit frustrated. I think especially with a team that's good, and you see all your teammates producing and having fun, and then you're having trouble. I think for all of the O2s, I think it was a tough year just because we were all out of the lineup in the playoffs, and you always want to play. But I think it was a great learning experience, and I wouldn't have traded to another team just to play. I think the experience you gain from being around those guys like Sash and Felly take you and taking your career for the rest of your life. So I think it was a great learning experience, and then I can use it in the future.
How much better can you get when you practice against those guys on a daily basis, especially with how hard the Ottawa 67s practice on a day-to-day basis?
I think you can learn a lot and get a lot better, especially with their defensemen who were so good the last 2 years, and the size of them as well. You sort of prepare yourself for if you go to an NHL camp that guys like size of Baller are there. So, and Nikita and Putty and Hoff. So I think it's just being mentally prepared to battle and knowing that the other guy wants to beat you and you have to beat them is something that really helped.
You had a chance to represent Canada at the U17s. What was that experience like?
It was a great experience. You always dream about putting on the maple leaf and playing for your country. And although it's 3 teams, you still feel like you represented your country. So it was a great experience. And I also got to share it with one of my teammates, Luke Evangelista. We were on the same team, so it was a great experience and definitely learned a lot and met some new friends. So it was an experience I'll take away for the rest of my life.
You got to play in 4 playoff games last year.
Yeah.
But overall, what was the biggest memory that you take away from that entire playoff run?
I think just the brotherhood that we had. Although we didn't end up with winning it, I think we were so tight as a group, and you could tell whenever one guy scored or the other, or something bad happened, everyone was there to pick each other up and celebrate as a team. And I think having that X rip off was pretty cool. It was something that we all could share, and then having the experience of the help sandbagging and was something that also brought us together, because I don't think many people want to do that in the rain, but when you sweep a team and then the next night you go out and help the community is something that you find special and is something that you'll remember.
In the 4 games that you played, twice you were named the hardest working 67 on the radio broadcast. Did you feel like you were able to step up your game a little bit in the playoffs, and did you feel like you had to step up your game to keep up with everybody else?
I definitely think my game stepped up another level in that. I think in playoffs, just the emotion and the energy, and guys are telling you to just play simple and play your game, which I thought I did. I think also scoring a goal in the playoffs and was pretty nice, and it definitely boosted the confidence. And then being able to play with Felly and Cody in the game 4 was pretty fun. And although it's a lot of pressure, at the end of the day, you're all on the same team and you're hockey players, so you just got to go out there and play.
You didn't play in this game, but what's your memory of the triple overtime game in Sudbury?
Uh, that was pretty cool. I was the only scratch that we took up there, so I was hanging around Sean that game, and it was super nervous just watching the game, wondering who's going to score, and both goalies standing on their head. And then when Felly scored, we were jumping up and down and then celebrating with the guys.
Talked to Austin Keating and Mikey DiPietro about that game, and they were talking about eating Swiss chalet in between the second and third overtime.
Yeah.
Did you get into any of that action?
No, I was sort of the helper that was getting everything organized. Sean didn't really have any of his guys there, so sort of I was the Froatsy of the team that time, and if guys wanted water or banana, I would just go grab it for them. Which, like, if I can do something to help them out win, I'll do it.
In between your rookie season and your second year, what was your main focus for the off season?
My main focus, I think, was just building speed and leg strength. I think speed and was something that I always want to work on and continually work on, but it's something that I saw in my game that if I wanted to play on the next level, I think I had to improve on it. And then working with next gen also throughout both first and second year, that also helped a lot with mechanics and just the skating treadmill, which we know that everyone who's done it knows it's pretty hard, but I find it helps out a lot, and you see results.
In the preseason, it seemed on the ice like you were a more confident player. Did that translate from the off season? Was it from the experience in the playoffs the year before? It was just being another year older and knowing what to expect in the preseason.
I think it was a combination of a bit of everything. I think just having the next year, you feel that you have to step up and you have to raise your game to another level. I also think that just the confidence from having main camp where I thought I did pretty well, and especially having that 3-on-3 tournament where that's a game where I love to play, and I feel like I can show some of my strength the most out in that game. So I think just a little bit of combination of having that experience and being a year older.
Did your confidence dip at any point throughout the regular season?
I think the very beginning of the season was pretty hard on me, not get scoring or getting any points for the first while. I think that I just had to I didn't really have the best mindset after the first few games that wasn't really going my way, but I think sort of progressed and got out of it, and then it was all sailing from there.
You ask every player this heading into their draft year. Did you feel like there was any extra pressure with it being your NHL draft year?
I think for some guys, just when you see the list come out and you see your name on it, or you don't see your name on it, there's some pressure. But I think just once you actually get into this season, you don't really think about when you're playing, and even when you're off the ice, no one really talks about it because it's just something that happens. And regardless if you get drafted or not, you can still turn pro. So I think it's if it happens, it's great. But if it doesn't, then it's not in the world, and you keep working.
Jumping ahead a little bit, it may be a little bit of a tough question, but do you feel that if the season or since the season was canceled, it kind of hurt your chances at the NHL draft because you had been playing better towards the end of the season?
I think it could have affected it. I think playing with Joe and G, I think playing the last 10 games really helped out a lot. I think my confidence was probably at an all-time high, and just I think I was having a lot more fun out there and not really worrying about, oh, I have to get points here and there. It just sort of happened, and so I think if the season continued, I think we would have been in a right direction, and in the playoffs could show what I could do. But there are bigger important things now, and everyone's staying safe. So.
Why did the combination of yourself, Joe Gareffa, and Graham Clark work out so well towards the end of the year, like you mentioned?
I think just we all have different skills that we all use and are pretty good at, and I think put together it creates a really dangerous line. Joe's got the speed and he's got the vision to find guys, and he can also put in the net. And then G with his shot, and he's always dangerous, so guys have to watch out. And then I think I can feed them and get the puck in my D zone and go up the ice and win battles for them. So I think just a combination of the speed, the shot, and work ethic is something that worked out really well.
You missed 10 games this season through various times of the year with injuries and illness. Did you
Yeah.
find it tough with all the starts and stops to your year?
I think it was pretty tough. Injuring my shoulder was definitely something that you don't really expect to happen, but I think just not coming back too early was something that helped out. And when you're ready, you're ready. And then with the illnesses, it's something that you can't really control too much. I think if you're sick, and there's no point in trying to play and get other guys sick if it is contagious. But if you are sick and can play, you should still play. So I think it's just managing it. And the stops, I felt like there are sort of two stops within it. I don't feel like it was like continuous. I think it's more once I got over it, it was done rather than it kept reoccurring.
Heard in the locker room and hope I'm not telling tales out of school here, but that minor midget Cam was back towards the end of the season. And your response to that was, this is the new OHL Cam. Why did that transition take place, or how did that transition take place?
I think it's just one was a confidence thing. I think in minor midget, there's nothing that you feel like you can't do, and if you try and fail, you're not. It's not the end of the world, and you don't really feel that much pressure. I think it's also just sort of changed my game a bit. I think for I guess changing lines and even before that, I played a bit more physical. I felt that. Going into corners, trying to win battles, and finishing my checks. Sometimes I wouldn't go hit the guy, even though if it's a small bump, it's still getting your bump. So I think it's just getting a bit more physical on the ice, being a bit more determined around the net, and the confidence.
You mentioned physical and determination. Is there one trait that when you're going well, that fans will be able to see it in your game as to why it's going well?
I think like at the hop in my step. I think when things are going well, I'll be flying out there. You'll see a smile on my face, and I'll be making plays and not just too thinking that much. Just more of playing and having fun rather than thinking. Because when I'm doing that, I feel like I'm playing my best.
Why should an NHL team take a chance on you at this year's NHL draft? Because I'm not trying to offend or anything, but your numbers don't jump out as an NHL draft pick at this point. But in talking to Austin Keating, he said that he thinks that you are in line for a big jump up next year. Why should a team take a chance on you this year?
I think it's just the progression of my game over this season. I think if you look at the beginning versus the end, I think it's a completely different player. I think if you sort of split the year in half, the first half was not something that I really expected, but then the second half was something that, when put on the work boots and got a bit more confidence, I think that sort of translated in my game. And I think I'm a player that can play in all three ends of the zone, the ice. Sorry. Um, I can find players. I can put the puck in the net, and I can uh, play in all situations. If you want me to kill a penalty, I can do that. And if you want me to be in front of the net or on the half on the power play, I can do that as well.
What are you going to be working on this off season? Always bigger, stronger, faster is the typical response. Is there anything else that you feel like you need to get ahead of?
Um, Before the coronavirus, I was going to work with Graham and Jack's shooting coach and skills coach. Find that next year I want to be a lot more of a shooter and find those areas like Jack did. And I wouldn't say I'm going to get 50 next year, but that's definitely, if I get anywhere close to that, I'll be happy. So I think just being more of a shooter, and so I'll definitely be working on my shot and just finding different ways to get it off and beat these one-on-one.
You're one of the more intelligent young men that I've come across in the OHL. I want you to put on your scouts hat and tell us the qualities and what you see on a daily basis out of the likes of Jack Quinn, Marco Rossi, as well as Will Cranley.
Um, so for Jack, Jack is someone who's super competitive and hates to lose at whatever he does, no matter if it's a simple game of basketball or soccer, or if it's on the ice. He hates to lose and will do whatever he can to win. I think for Marco, he's super intelligent, and he always seems to know what's up. And if someone did something that he knows that they can improve on, he'll definitely speak up and try to help them out. And he's also like Jack, where he hates to lose, and he'll be in the corner giving you shots to try to beat you and bring down your morale. And then Will, and then for Will, I think he's definitely a goalie with a lot of talent. I think he's progressed really well throughout the year, and I think with Charlie working with him, I think he's got a lot more calm, and he's be a lot more better positionally as well.
Well, Cam, I appreciate the time. Make sure you stay safe. Enjoy time with your entire family.
Thank you. You too.